Microsoft gained 12 million users for Teams. Slack was up 7,000 new customers.
Right.
WebEx logged 3.2 million meetings per day, and Zoom had more users in Q1 than all of 2019.
Michelle, thank you for popping on and joining me today. Those of you who are not familiar with Michelle, this is Michelle McBain. Welcome, Michelle.
Thank you. It's my pleasure to be here.
Absolutely. So those of you who don't know her yet, you absolutely should. She is the Vice President of Channel Strategy at the JS Group. So we're just going to dig into a couple things today. So what are you really seeing happen, and what have you seen immediately as a result of really the new normal?
Yeah, absolutely. So from a channel perspective, obviously the first goal for every company, whether you're a channel partner or a vendor or a client, is the safety of the people on your team, in your community, in your ecosystem. So I think that's the first response that everyone has had, which is the right response. It's not, what is your number lately or things of that nature. We have to sort of pause and take a deep breath as a society and understand where we are and the responsibility. The world is sort of stopped in a large way, right? Everybody's working from home, which for us in technology is not that abnormal, but almost every industry now, every vertical now has truly become or forced to become a tech company.
Mm-hmm.
I can talk to my children are in dance school, and for the first time ever, their dance classes are being conducted via Zoom.
Right.
So, I mean, you look at a new world where people who are not typically familiar with devices such as UCaaS or security or video conferencing, et cetera, so on and so forth, are forced really to embrace them or suffer the consequences, right? So it really is a new digital normal.
It's interesting because in our space, right, we're surrounded by technology, and many times we know the roadmaps of things to come out, and we're the first to touch technology and utilize it. So a lot of the things that are just now becoming day-to-day life of just a normal person or a normal end user, we've been using for quite some time now. So it is really interesting, though, to see that ripple effect of things that have been in our working day-to-day now go all the way to the level of a virtual dance class, a virtual, I've seen it in a lot of industries, virtual digital health and fitness. So everyone's taking their brick and mortar to working out and bringing it to you through videos. And school, I mean, it's hitting every single industry across the board that is able to, obviously, able to is the key to that. They're taking it into a virtual world, which means you need technology, which is obviously our space. So it's definitely interesting. I would agree.
For JS Group, prior to this happening, Janet Shines, our CEO, has been talking about the new normal and digital selling, and how 11% of our community, and that's our community, are actually good at digital selling. Mm-hmm. So it's not so proficient, even in the tech space. And so to have this new normal where people embrace social media and seeing what I love on Facebook, these pop-up groups of happy hours and conversations and, all of these different tools and LinkedIn groups and podcasts and webinars, and saying we can't go out, but we can still be together. We can still keep the conversation going. We can still learn and embrace this new world together. And so I think that there has been, while there has been obviously a lot of fears, there's been also a lot of opportunities that have come out of this.
Now, where do you see this really transitioning into how we do business in the channel?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think that the second step that evolved from there was really triage, right? Not everybody had this remote work set up. Not everyone had the networking and the security and the ability to have the laptops at home instead of locked into your building somewhere. And so it's really just making sure everybody has the tools to be successful from their home space, right? And at that point, especially with confidential information, whether you're in the healthcare vertical and you need to be HIPAA compliant, or any number of regiment and process and protocol has to remain. Cybersecurity is obviously top of mind for many people as well, especially people who aren't used to working remotely and conducting online banking and all of these things that maybe they had a preference to go work and talk to somebody in the building. Now they're forced to do everything online and virtually. So you have to make sure that you're protected. The other thing, obviously, is video. The UCaaS space is just on fire right now because
Mm-hmm.
every company is becoming virtual and has to keep that connection going. And it's so nice to put the face with the name, versus just picking up a phone and talking to somebody. You still feel like you're in the room with them, you're present. The other component of that is, some people are still doing online virtual conferences and things of that nature.
Mm-hmm.
And, in the past, you might have said it's not that exciting. Sponsors, if they had a choice, would they choose to support a virtual one versus an in-person one? What gets a better return on my investment? And the truth is now we don't have a choice. So if
Right.
we're looking at it that way,
Mm-hmm.
have the right speakers, by the way, the travel budget's a lot easier to have somebody Zoom in from anywhere in the world. So you've expanded your portfolio of who you want to have as a keynote.
Mm-hmm.
You have a lot of people that have time because they're not flying all over. So they can
Exactly.
actually,
Everyone just was put in the exact same situation overnight. So the ability to now say, okay, great, we wanted this speaker. Well, sure, they've got time. They've got ample time. No one's driving, no one's flying, no one's traveling. We've had a multitude of whether it is partners or even vendors come out of the woodwork to do virtual events, which obviously is something that I'm sure you guys have as well. It's something that is really important because even in this time, you still need to continue selling in a different way and continue that awareness of what you have to offer, especially when you're in a situation where you can solve a lot of the business circumstances right now that people are finding themselves in. And so the virtual events are just absolutely huge. And they're not only tuning in to the virtual event, but you can it. It's already recorded and it can be out there to live forever. So it's absolutely imperative if you want to get out there and stay in front of everyone.
one of my other favorite components of this is analytics, right? I love metrics and analytics, right? And, we always talk about from the gut feelings, and that's good. And I like that. I think that's important. I think intuition is very important. But if you have artificial intelligence and predictive analytics and machine learning, why not utilize that, right? In today's day and age, that's a huge opportunity as well. So when you look at a lot of these new companies that are doing robotic processing automation or predictive analytics or artificial intelligence, you can say, okay, these particular people went to visit these vendors. They spent this amount of time. They
Mm-hmm.
went to the keynote. They loved the keynote. They were there for the full time. They didn't
Mm-hmm.
leave early, versus an actual in-person event where you can't actually capture realistically the data. And that data and information learning can actually help you prepare for your next either virtual or in-person conference.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a
Absolutely.
lot of good benefits there as well.
Those individuals that are choosing to come inside of your virtual event or inside of your virtual booth, they are even more qualified because they've chosen to do so. It's not just that they're walking around the floor and you're the 10th booth until they get to happy hour. They really only have, they've got choices and they choose to go in and chat with you about something. So there's another pre-qualification that happens when it isn't a virtual event, which makes it really nice.
Right. And so, I mean, that's exactly true. And so when you look at it, you have a few things that are changing, right? We have our processes that are changing because we're forced to, the way that we conduct business, the way we have our protocol is changing, our technologies are changing because we're including more people and more things and more abilities, and we're broadening the breadth and scope of what actually will help us be successful in our business. But also our people are going to have to change as well. So, I mean, if your channel chief was a road warrior and it was the hotel lobby bar that they networked in, and it was the amount of Marriott points that they had per night, or the amount of, frequent flyer miles and what class they were in, all of that's gone, right?
Mm-hmm.
So how are they connecting, right? And the old adage, people buy from people they like, is still true. It's all
Absolutely.
about relationships, right? At the end of the day. So it doesn't matter if that relationship was there, can they translate and evolve it to be online in a LinkedIn group,
And
on Twitter?
strong online. Absolutely. And one of the things you mentioned earlier too about the face-to-face, even us now, we're more connected than just on a call or just hearing your voice. So that visual aspect of connecting is so important. It's so helpful to be able to connect in that way. And it really bridges that gap and it helps things move quicker too. So
Absolutely.
it's very helpful.
Yeah. And so for me, I mean, the other component of that is, can you put the genie back in the bottle, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I've had the pleasure and blessing of, for almost 15 years of my entire career, I've been able to telecommute, I've been able to work remotely, I've been able to do virtual conferencing. Not everyone has had that fortune.
Mm-hmm.
And now all of us, regardless of field,
Yes.
except for our defenders on the front line. A huge thank you to those people, the nurses
Absolutely.
and doctors, the supermarket workers, the paramedics, the EMTs, the firefighters, police, the military, all of those people, all of them. I'm sure I missed many. The people that have to be out there doing wonderful work, selfless works for our community. Thank you to those people. For everyone else, please stay home and figure out ways that we can leverage technology. And for the companies that can do it, I've seen a lot of local businesses do really creative things also as well.
There will be a lot of things that will sunset due to this, and there will be a lot of great things that birth out of this, and that is really what's going to be neat. And so in your opinion, what do you think some of those things might be?
Well, I mean, so I'm reminded of Todd Thibodeau, who's the CEO of CompTIA, and he said, and this was 10 years ago, or maybe 6 years ago, within the next 10 years, so 4 years from now, 75% of the workforce is going to be millennials. And with that in mind, and with events, major events such as this that kind of push us in that direction, I think of all the people who are now working from home, and pardon the poor girl who took the laptop to the bathroom with her and didn't realize the video was on.
Oh
but
my
I think
goodness.
we're all in a learning curve together. And so I think that there's going to be a lot of maybe companies who didn't think they could do it. You do your best because that's all you can do. But in addition to that, leveraging YouTube and video content is definitely important. And I would definitely let businesses know to think about that as well. But I listen to podcasts, and podcasts are actually one of the most amazing tools for businesses, I would say,
a good podcast.
Of all types. There's extreme loyalty with podcasts. 94% of people that listen to a podcast listen to the entire session within 24 hours of them posting it, or 50% buy ads when they hear it on them. So there's just this huge cult following, and people listen to podcasts when they're driving or in the car or on vacation or in quarantine. So I think it's a huge opportunity to leverage different social tools. But I run outside, and as I'm running, which is something I never really did unless something was chasing me, to be honest, I see people out with their families, and not in a big social area, but just nuclear families coloring with chalk on the floor, or bicycling around, or roller skating. And, it's something really in such a scary time, an emotionally heightened, stressful time of a pandemic, to see families coming together closer, to see people loving each other, being kind.
It is really beautiful. So no, I would agree with you. Any last thoughts or anything that, from you or the JS group, anything you want to share with any partner or vendor, anyone who might just pick this up as they're watching, and anything you want to share with them?
So it is a time now for all of us to be kind, to be selfless, and to be helpful. And one of the best ways we can do that is by supporting each other virtually from 6 feet distance, to social distance, to quarantine, to stay at home as long as possible to help flatten the curve. And in doing so, we're going to help leverage technology tools, which we talked about earlier, and help these local businesses really think of out-of-the-box ideas to be more creative. And for our channel vendors and partners, obviously, this is an opportunity for everyone in the tech space, not just in our traditional verticals, but in all of these different businesses that want to stay afloat. How can we help them become more enabled and secure and protected, and thought leaders within their own industry to really think out of the box and have help for these people to help them also stay afloat? I think that, you can choose to see the bad, and there is bad, but we also have to think of the good. And this is so critical for each and every one of us to say, what can I do? What can, when we say what keeps you up at night, that old business adage, we know what's keeping a lot of people up at night. And it's the struggles of the economy, the downturn, it's the health and safety of them and their families. There's so many things that are keeping people up right now. So if you have a solution within your company, within your brand, now is the time to rise up, to be a thought leader, to post that content, to host sessions, to write articles, to share videos, to listen, to learn, and see what each of us can do to help one another.
Michelle, thank you so much for those words. And obviously, thank you for your time. Keep safe, keep healthy, have fun with your little girls and your family. And thank you all for tuning in. And we hope that you stay safe and healthy. And we will be on this path with you and here for anything that you might need. We will talk to you soon.
Thank you.